Hey friends! So today we're going to be looking at shading. A lot of the early projects we're going to do are going to be a bit shorter than what you're used to in the past. So some of them are going to be black and white. So how do we spruce up something, a drawing that's just in black and white? Well, we want to add shading. Shading is what gives a 3D look to objects and can give your drawing just a much more finished, more professional look. Okay, so we're going to be using pencils. Okay, I have a couple drawing pencils, so I have a darker one as well, but you can do these with just a regular pencil as well. Okay, so there's a few different ways you can do shading and to add texture to your work. The first one, hatching, is when you are just using parallel lines. So it's making lines that go all in the same direction. Let me see if I get the camera a little bit closer. Perfect. Okay, so it's parallel lines like that. It doesn't matter which way they're going, but you're using them next to each other to shade in sections, kind of like that. Okay, cross-hatching is when you do something similar. So you have lines that are parallel, going in the same direction, but then you go the opposite way too. So almost like you're making little X's or tic-tac-toe sections. And that's cross-hatching. So those are two quicker ways you can shade in areas. Now, if you want lighter cross-hatching, just leave the lines a little bit further apart, and it won't be quite as dark from here to here. Okay, so one way we can do this is by practicing on a sphere shape. So I'm going to start with my darker pencil, and I'm going to shade in on one side. Okay, I'm going to start to get pretty dark on there. And then as you move over to the other side, rounding off the sphere, but we're also going to start to get lighter in color. I'm going to switch to a lighter pencil as well. Start to move overward a bit more. Okay. And again, I'm using the hatching now. It's kind of using parallel lines. Get lighter and lighter as I'm heading over to where the light is hitting this ball shape. Okay. Now, one thing you can also do, if you want to get really good at this, is sometimes whatever surface that it's sitting on reflects light. So you can add a reflected light by erasing a little bit on the edge of the shadow on one side. That gives you just a little bit of reflected light on there. Okay. Works similarly if you're doing flat surfaces. And for this one, let's try the regular cross-hatching. So I'm going to make a lot of parallel lines on one side of this cube over here. Okay. And then I'm going to make opposite ones. They don't have to be perfect. It's just all about having the lines cross so that we get that shaded area like that. You can always blend them together with your finger afterwards too, if you want a more solid shape like that. And then let's use hatching on top, like that. And maybe we want that other side a little darker, so maybe we add a little bit more cross-hatching on one side, like that. Okay, so there's a couple shapes to start with. Now, if you're doing something natural, like for example, a tree here, here's how we might shade that. First of all, we have this top section where the pine needles are, if it's a pine tree. So we're going to add a little bit of shading underneath where that is, because that's going to be blocking the light from hitting the top of the tree trunk down here. We might also have a little bit of shading on one of the sides, and to show a little bit of the texture of the tree bark or the roots, like that. Okay. Now, up here, we want to show some of the texture of those needles or leaves. So we're using small little lines Hopefully you can see that okay. Just keep my pencil pretty loose, not worrying too much about making it perfect or highly detailed. We're just getting lots of little, it's almost scribbly lines, but small scribbly lines. And we're leaving sections white where the light is hitting it. We're letting the dark kind of be in the middle and on the right. I'm going to add those lines. Go back with a darker pencil. Now, obviously, if you don't have a darker pencil, just push down harder with your regular pencil. I'm going to add some shading over there. Blend in a little bit to the other part. But we want to leave, some light shading as well. You want a good texture of both, not just one or the other usually. Okay. Let's go up towards the top of the tree. Fill in some of that. Maybe just a little bit over there too, just to give it some texture. More darker lines. And there you go. So those are some ways you can use shading to help make your artwork even better and even more detailed. All right, friends, until next time, happy drawing.